Hi guys, this is Q. Welcome to another Toon tutorial video. In this video, we're going to look at how to use cutter and color override modules. The two modules that is very important at rigging and setting up your character. So what those will allow me to do, if you look at this Katie build here, if I move her iris over outside of her eye, it's being effectively cut by the eye whites, so it's staying inside all the time. Also, if you have enough time, I'll also show you, using the same basic principle, how to set up her mouth. But we won't work with Katie here today. I'm going to disable that. We will work with this character named Bella. So we'll start from scratch. Before we begin, I have to let you know that what I'm about to show you will probably only apply to Toon Animate Pro and Toon Harmony. Because what you need is this network view, which is only available on those two software. So I imported this rough design here, and I already gone and created just random created a scene palette named Bella, and just created a bunch of the color wells here in advance. So since this isn't a full character building tutorial, we'll just jump right in. So let's start with her eye. I'm going to increase this design here. Okay, that's good. Okay, so we have this empty drawing. And let's start with her eye. So I'm gonna pick color wheel called eye trace. And just draw her eye. Maybe I'll use ellipse tool. I'm not quite sure what kind of style I want for this character, but we'll figure that out as we do this together. Okay. When you're making a character, sometimes I personally like to use this brush tools a lot. So maybe I will like convert that to the flat image, or I guess like the brush like drawings. But when dealing with things like eye, sometimes it's actually better to keep this in your default build. Okay, let's just go with this. This is more of an advanced tutorial, so I won't go and explain very small bits about like what tools I'm using, but I'll just mainly focus on the what we're learning today, which is cutter and color override. Okay, so here I made the the eye and filled it with the well called eye white. Let's rename that to I1. Okay, I'm gonna create another drawing. And we will do the iris. Let's see. I just deleted the outline, so I'll just have the this nice one clean shape. Okay, I think that's enough assets for our purpose, for the eye anyway. Let's name this Pupil. Pupil 1. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to select these two from the timeline down here, and I'm going to hit add peg, and it will add peg to each one of them. Collapse it using the 0 button. So let's create pivot point first. So we have eye here. Once I hit pivot, it will go back into the drawing mode. So for the eye, I usually like to have pivot down here-ish. So I can squash and stretch effectively. Hang on a second. Okay. And pupil smack in the center. Okay. So if we look at it, we should be able to see the pivot in the center, but we don't. And it's way down here at the center of the scene, which is by default that's where it will always go. So what we'll do is go into the eye. Maybe I'll show you in the network really quick. So we have eye here, we have pupil. Okay. So we want the our peg pivot to be in the same place with our drawing pivot. So I'm going to hit Shift E, and in the layer properties, go under drawing tab, and under use embedded pivots, you want this to be at apply embedded pivot on parent peg. Bam. So what this will do, the parent peg will follow wherever the drawing peg is. So for example, if we were to move this up here, if you look at it, it's up there now. Okay, so once you have that set up, it will follow that. And same with this. Wait. What? Hang on. Oh, that's strange. Anyways, so so that's where you want the your option layer property will be at. Okay. So here we are. The pupil isn't being kept inside the eye. So we will remedy that by going into module library. Okay. What you want is cutter. And color override. Let's drag those two here. And for some reason, module library never wants to go behind the window, so I'm just gonna close it. Now, just for the convenience to clean this up, I want to have another composite. This basically like just connects the modules together. So I'm gonna hit Control H and connect these two back. One thing that's important when you're building a character, you want that composite mode on the properties will be, you want that to be in pass through. That's all I'm gonna say for that one for now. It will become more evident when we start animating. Okay, so what we want is the pupil to be cut by the eye white here. But let's just see what will happen. So if you want to apply cutter, we have two plugs on the top and one on the bottom. So if you want, so you plug the thing that you want to be shown on the right, and we'll plug it back in like so we can see it. And on this left plug, you want to plug in the thing that it will get cut by, the shape, and so forth. So if I just take the eye one and then plug it there, right now it's cutting the pupil out of that shape, the eye we have. But what we want is, first of all, eye 1 to show up as well. So we just have to drag another line from the eye 1 and then drag it out like that. But maybe I'll hide it for now just to illustrate. So cutter, you go into the layer properties and then you just hit inverted. Now if you look at it, like the selection is inverted, so the pupil will stay within the shape instead of being cut by the shape. So are we done? No. Unfortunately not. Although if this was if you have a style that doesn't have outline like this, for example, if it was just like this type of style, then you know you're done. But we're working with this kind of look. So what we want is to set it up so that this line that is masking the pupil will only contain the information of this eye white here. So what we're gonna do, take the color override module, hold Alt, and then just connect it like this. On the very right, plug it there, and then just on the bottom like this. I personally don't know what these two are used for, but maybe I'll find out later. So once we plug that in, you want to open up in the layer properties. And there's a whole bunch of mess. At first when you look at it, like, what the heck is this? So go to palette, we'll select Bella Day, and it will show you all the color wells that's under the Bella scene palette. And what we want is eye white, and we'll drag it onto this third window here, and then check off the render selected colors. What this will do, it will only render the eye white. Okay, I'm gonna close. Okay, I'll show you. Okay, so I'll just show you like this. So right now we have just basic eye, and then if we apply this color override that we made, and it will only show the eye white. And the black is only showing up because we put the secondary line here. Okay, that might be a problem. Alright. Yeah, black is only showing up because we have a secondary line here, and effectively this is what's going on behind this eye white. But notice, this is the reason why I like to convert everything to brush. Notice that this color override, the eye white, is actually not intersecting here perfectly. That is because, if you take a look, for lack of a better word, we're working with this shape that is kind of like a pencil line. So it's only defined by the center Bezier shape, and whatever you're filling, if you just click fill and then the eye white, for example, it will go all the way to this blue, the center line, instead of this edge here. Although that might be what we want for eye. So we'll keep it at that, and I'll show you how to work around it. So if you look at it, and let's see, so this is what the eye white selection looks like now, and it's just jetting outside of the black line. Let's apply that mask to the pupil here. So what you see is happening is, you know, the pupil is actually just being cut by the eye white shape, and it's not going to the edge. That's not what we want. So for this particular one, what we're gonna do, copy and paste the color override, hook it up to another eye line here, and I'm gonna get rid of this eye white, and we're gonna pick eye trace, which is this black line here, so that the only black line is available, and we're gonna plug it in front of, sandwich it between pupil, the eye here, so just put it in the front. So that it's like this, so that the black lines at the very top, pupil is being sandwiched in the middle, and whatever the rest of the eye is in the back. Beautiful. Let's see, I feel like I should explain. I'll explain why I did it that way. I'm going to quickly copy, paste special, Control B, always create drawings, blah blah blah. Okay, so I'll just show you why I did it the way I did, and I'll show you another way to go about it, which is actually quite simple, but you might run into issue. So what we could have done, just have a simple setup here where you have eye whites being cut, and you know, you have a pupil, and this is the setup I use personally, but the first, oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll show you. So what you can do, so right now it's like we had that same problem here, but if you actually convert this to the brush line, which is Shift 7. Now this shape is being dictated by these outer edges. Let's fill this in again. Now if we take a look at this eye white, it's only being filled up to this edge right here. And if we look back, then the eye white selection is only going to the other edge, so is this eye here. So this effectively creates somewhat more simpler build setup. But sometimes yeah, you probably want to keep that as like a pencil line, but this is another way you can go about it. The problem that you may face using this, if we render it, okay, we're gonna need some kind of a background. Okay, let's render this. And let's look at it at 100%. You may not be able to notice it perfectly, but what is happening is if you cut things by just this shape here, you get very slight a gap in between. Right? So if maybe you can see better if I change the color of her eye. Pupil here. Let's see. Oops. So that's, you don't want that. You run into several problems down the line, and it's one of the retake calls we get from work quite often. See, yeah, you get that white outline. You don't want that. So that's why doing the other way is preferable, but that might mean you have to make sure the eye white is always kind of a slightly bigger than the selection here, which you don't want to keep managing that. So what we're gonna do is go to Windows, Module Library again. We want to go under Filter tab. We want Matte Resize module. Let's bring that over here. And what does Matte Resize do is it just creates whatever the shape you just plug into. It just make it slightly bigger. So we want that eye white to be bigger. Let's go turn the iris back to this color. So we'll plug it in. Oops. Plug it in down here. And we'll go into options, and we have a layer properties. We have radius here. If we increase the radius, what it's effectively doing is increasing that eye white selection bigger. And if we increase it as large as we want, but we just won't be able to notice it because, well, maybe we will if I show you like this. See, this is what's happening. That eye white selection, you can either increase or decrease, right? So for our purposes, we want to increase it just so that the pupil is just making a contact with the black line there. So for this build, 0.3 seems like the sweet spot. So this is the way I like to have it set up, the second option. but you may run into this first option as well. Just gonna create a peg so we can look at the two separately. Okay, so this is the first eye, second eye. Just to review, first eye has the outer rim. Well, this is, yeah, I explained it. So hopefully you know the difference. Let's see. So Animator should be able to, should know that how it's being set up, and they probably will like run into the problem. So if you ever wanna create a different drawing, like let's say Animator created different eye part here, but using this brush line, then if we look at what's happening, Animator will need to know that if you create the brush line in the first build we have here, you get that white line that we talked about, and he'll probably get a retake. And also, if you were to create a new eye drawing here, but actually use like, you know, the ellipse tool and keep it as this like a pencil line, and then fill it with eye white, the animator will need to know this is what will happen. To me, the second build is much viable, since all the animator has to do is just select it and convert it to brush, and maybe even flatten it by selecting everything, Control-Shift-F, then it just flattens all the drawings. If you don't flatten it, like this eye white is still going to be jetting out from behind, but once you flatten the image, the program will cut everything very cleanly. To me, yeah, I do prefer the second option, since the workaround is much faster and you don't actually have to mess around with the build of adding the matte override. Matte resize. So that's the difference. Okay. Yeah, there's our little eye. So I'm gonna cut this video short here, and I'll create another video showing how we apply pretty much the same stuff we learned in this video, but apply to the mouth. But there's a bit of more trick to it, so you're not dealing with like different elements for teeth, mouth, tongue, and all that stuff. So thanks for watching, and yeah, keep up with your questions, and I'll make short ones like this just to address it very quickly. And thank you for all the wonderful comments as well. Alright, see you next time.